Hi Queens, welcome back to a new video. We are doing a life update Q&A. As you can see, we're still not in the house. So I figured I should update you. I took some questions on YouTube and Instagram, so we're gonna get into it while I get ready for the day. We're doing like everyday beat, basically. An everyday beat because we are going to walk through the house today. We're going to blue tape the house. You know, if there's any issues, you put blue tape to mark like things that need to be fixed. Very exciting times, but it's been quite the journey, so I want to update you. This video is in partnership with Ami Colé, which I'm so excited about. If you saw the September Fashion Week, you know that I interviewed the founder of Ami Colé. I did like a panel with my agency, and I'm just so impressed by everything she has created. I'm super excited to be working with them. Before we start the Q&A, let me just go over what I'm going to use in the video. I also have a discount code, so let's get into that. And then we'll get into the Q&A. So I'm using the Complexion Set from Ami Colé today. It's for balanced to oily skin, and it gives you everything you need to show off your beautiful skin. The set includes a skin stick, concealer, loose powder, and the brushes, which I've never tried, so I'm very excited about those. The skin enhancing stick foundation and the complexion brush creates a smooth, soft focus base. Then with the skin enhancing concealer, you can brighten and conceal. And there's also a concealer brush, which I'm very excited about. Finally, you can use a super fine skin melt loose powder, and they have a powder brush as well for staying power. So this is what I'm going to be using in the video. I also have like the gloss, which people have been raving about. I also have a discount code. You can use Naylor20, that's my last name, Naylor 20, and get 20% off the entire site. Complexion Set is $98, and you can also get 20% off of that. But also the code works on everything on the site. So, and if you didn't know, Ami Colé is clean, vegan, and cruelty-free. All right, let's get into it. So the first question, I'm going in with the foundation stick, of course, just to get some coverage, and I'm not doing a lot. I'm just gonna do a couple spots just to get my skin tone even. Oh, and I'm going in with shade 150. Okay, first question. How are you socially and personally adjusting to being back in DC? We are loving it. Socially, we've been out a lot. I'm using the complexion brush. We have been quite busy and just trying to get, you know, back acquainted with like our friends that live here. Hanging out more, obviously family. We have been back in DC since March or the end of February. We have been, this is our third Airbnb that we are in. So that's been tough because obviously we can't, like, we're not setting any routines or like real habits. We're trying to just get to know the area that we're going to be living in and, you know, just get back again, reacquainted with friends and like places and stuff like that. But it's also been a little rough because we don't have any consistency or routine. So that's how that's going. That blended out really nice. And I feel like I picked that color because it does match like the perimeter of my face more and like my arms, like my body. And then the center of my face is a little lighter. So I think that looks good. I'm gonna add a little more around my mouth where I have discoloration. Okay, next question. What is next for Style Unlocked? Are you signing with a studio? No, I am not. We had to take a little hiatus for Style Unlocked because we did move into the house and we just don't have all of our things. And obviously we travel for Style Unlocked and I just am not in a space where I can really be traveling right now. So we're taking a mid-season break. That's what we're calling it. But we do have plans to go to New York in like 2 weeks. And we have a lot of interviews lined up. Some very exciting interviews lined up. I think we're doing like 4 or 5 while we're there. So then we'll come back in May. So stay tuned. No plans of like making this anything bigger for me. Again, I think I've said this before, but it's kind of just like learning. I am just adding tools to my tool belt, learning how to interview. Like that was one of my biggest lessons and like proudest moments last year was just like learning how to like conduct an interview, how to lead an interview. It is a skill. That's why people go to school for it. You know, doing the research to make sure it's interesting and, you know, thought-provoking and also entertaining, because that is the main goal. Like I want people to have a good time while they're watching it, but I want the interviewee to have a good time and also not be asked questions they've already been asked before, guiding a conversation, asking probing questions. Like that's my only goal right now, is to just get better at that and add more tools to my tool belt. This looks great. This looks very natural. Let's go in with concealer. I'm going to use Rich 2.5. You can live anywhere in the world. Why DC? LOL, respectfully. We love DC. Also, I feel like some people don't know. Obviously, if you're newer, you don't know that we lived in DC before. I lived in DC for 7 years, and my husband is from the DMV area, so we're just moving back. So that's why. But also, DC is really the only place we love, like really love. I'm gonna let this dry down a bit. It's so diverse. There's so much to do. We can be in DC in 15 minutes. We are in the V, in DMV, Virginia. We can be in DC in 15 minutes. So you can have that city hustle and bustle, but also it can feel like you're in the middle of nowhere because you have, the suburbs. There's just so much to do. You can go to like wineries that are close. There's just so much to do. We love it, but also family. We want it to be closer to family. We talked about the airports and all that. It's also just like better for what we do. We're closer to New York. We have 2 airport options, 2 international airports. So that's better for work. And we always knew we would come back. We lived in Chesapeake, Virginia, which is like Virginia Beach. But the only reason we moved there was for Josh's old job. This is a very hydrating concealer. Okay, next question. Are there any life or career, sorry, my mirror is kind of far, so bear with me. Any life or career bucket list items you've ticked off? I feel like I love this brush. This is a concealer brush, which I've been wanting to try. Just some type of brush with this shape. It goes perfectly under the eye. Bucket list, in life will be this house. We're so like excited and grateful because before we moved to Chesapeake, we were kind of like, oh, maybe we'll buy like a fixer-upper in the middle of nowhere and just like, because it's very expensive to buy a house here, especially in Virginia, like where we want to be in Virginia. So the fact that we're able to come back and like build a house and make it exactly what we want is a huge accomplishment. So I would say that is definitely a bucket list. And then I have the thing I've been talking about for the last year is a huge bucket list item, and I can announce it. I'm going to announce it on May 13th. So when that comes out, that will probably be the biggest bucket list thing. I'm going to pop something on that's a little brighter because I don't have a super bright shade, and I just want a little more brightness under my eye. I'm going to let that dry, but my skin looks phenomenal. So yeah, May 13th, I will announce on here it has been a year-long thing, and that'll be the biggest thing on my bucket list that I'm ticking off. Someone asked, what am I most proud of? I always say this, but I'm just most proud that this is my life. I can't believe it. Every day, I can't believe we get to do this together. It was just kind of something we threw out there and thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could travel the world together and be together all the time? And like, I can't believe that's my proudest. Like, I can support myself. Again, when I left my job, I was like, maybe I'll just do it for the summer. Maybe I'll just get a part-time job. Maybe I'll work at the mall and try to, do content creation. So the fact that this is actually my job and it's both of our jobs and we both love it and we figured out a way to, have some work-life separation and enjoy it, but not make it feel like it's our whole world. Very proud of that. Good question. Do you have any regrets as an influencer? I'm going to let this dry a little more. Do I have any regrets as an influencer? I do not. I am very fortunate, and I know that I had this mentality because I had a career before this, but I always thought about the long game. I still think about the long game. But even when I first started, I always thought about what this will look like in a few years and that I want to be proud of what I'm doing now. Like, I don't want to ever look back and be embarrassed about a campaign or a sponsorship or a partnership or anything that I did work-wise. I want to be proud because that's just, like, your reputation is very important. I always felt that way. And I always thought long-term with this. So I don't have a lot of regrets because I always had that at the forefront of my thought process when brands reached out. And I also tried to make sure I was never desperate, like, in this field, so that I didn't have to do certain things out of desperation. So I would say no. Let's blend this out. This brush is so soft. I literally have never blended out concealer without a beauty blender before. Like, I don't know if you can see like the angle of this brush. Perfect. Okay. Next question. Oh, what marriage advice would you give to newlyweds? Say be prepared to have patience and patience. I would probably just say that, like, be patient with yourself and with your partner. I feel like that was something I had to learn. I'm an impatient person, so it's just advice I gave myself. But like, we're all just figuring it out. No one has all the answers. But also, you are growing. You're ever changing. So it's like, you also have to be flexible with the person you're with, because you're growing as a person. They're growing and changing as a person. Like, I met Josh 10 years ago. Not that he's a totally different person, but he has grown as a person. All right, let's go in with some blush. The base is looking really, really beautiful and natural. Very, very excited about that. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with this mauve shade. It's just my favorite blush shade. But I did get this bright orange, which I feel like will be better with like a beat, like a, beat. So I'm gonna go with this for today. This is Dune. Next question. Would you ever have your mom work on your team or as your manager? Not as my manager. My mom is too nice to be my manager. She's just a sweet angel. And I'm with Kensington and Gray. I'll always be with Kensington and Gray. That's family. But yes, only if she wanted to. My goal for my mom is to just retire and move here. That's what I would like her to do. But if she is bored and would like something to do, we can find a job for her. So that's the tea on that. She can work in finance with Josh. She can do whatever she likes, but I would prefer for her to just retire and relax and enjoy life. That's pretty. It's like, yeah, it's a mauve, pinky, very pretty. I'm just gonna use the complexion brush. Yeah, the complexion brush to blend that in. A lot of like workout questions. Who do I take Pilates from? I have not done Pilates in quite some time, but I do have it on my phone. And what I've always talked about or recommended is Melissa Wood Health. If you are just on the go, if you just want to move your body, I find that she does like Pilates with a mix of yoga, with a mix of like bar. It's very slow, impactful workouts. I really enjoy them. I don't like break a huge sweat, but I am always sore the next day. You can go at, like, she has different intensity levels. You can do beginner. She has intermediate and advanced. It saves your classes on the app. It's $9 a month. And I just really enjoy it. Again, use like 2-pound weights. But again, I've seen, it's just something that I can continuously do. I don't feel like it's not too strenuous. I just really enjoy it. It's just slow, impactful movements. You can do, they have like 9-minute little things if you don't have a lot of time, up to like 20-minute things. Sometimes I'll combine things and do like abs and arms and legs, or I'll do like back and abs and arms, or back and arms. So highly, highly recommend Melissa Wood Health. Someone asked, will I continue doing all of the fashion weeks? And then there was another question asking me why I didn't go to the European fashion weeks. So I will continue. I'll always do New York Fashion Week because it's here and it's just like good business. It's a time for me to connect with people, have meetings, and just like see people I want to see. Other fashion weeks I will if it makes sense. I will be going to Copenhagen Fashion Week in August. And then the others, we will see if I have opportunity there, if it makes sense, if I can make money. Milan and Paris are still the hardest ones for me. I have gotten the feedback that I am just very American, and people just make it hard. And of course, I'm super passionate about this, and I feel like what was driving me before was just my competitive nature of like, I'm going to show them, and I deserve to be here and all that stuff. But at this point, I can't keep spending this kind of money to like have a door closed in my face once I get there. Are there a few opportunities? Yes, always. But I need to see, there needs to be purpose. That's how I'm moving. I'm moving with purpose. So if there's opportunities, I will be there. If there are, enough invites and it just makes sense financially and business wise, I will be there. But I for sure know I will be at Copenhagen and New York Fashion Week this year. That is gorgeous. That's the blush. Powder. Yes, which I have not tried, so I'm very excited. We are trying the Skin Melt Loose Powder. And what I really love is that this has a little flap. So when you open it, it doesn't go everywhere. I love that for me. And then this also has a brush. This is the powder brush, which is good for under the eye. I'm probably just going to mainly do my T-zone because I feel like this finish is so natural. Like I don't need it to be like super matte. And it's not very like oily or, dewy. So that's what we'll do. Next question. This is an interesting one. Do you foresee yourself leaving the USA to live abroad? Where and how long? Absolutely not. I am someone who thrives on convenience, and I'm just very self-aware. So I don't plan on leaving the US. No. I know that, again, like I just said, I'm very American. Unfortunately, is it the best here? No, absolutely not. But there are a lot of conveniences that I think people take for granted that I know I like. I'm just doing like this and then tapping off the excess. And I'm just hitting my T-zone and then under my eye. This is a very light powder. So these brushes are very, very soft. I thought that was an interesting question. Next up. I feel like this is a very generic question, but I wanted to touch on it for anyone that's like interested in being a creator. Because I don't think this applies to me really. Are you able to enjoy the moment if you are always creating content? Now, I feel like if you follow me, you know this is not accurate because I'm not always creating content. I'm very thoughtful in the content I create, and I clock in and I clock out. Now, if I'm inspired, I'm somewhere and I get, inspired by something, then I'll create. But I very much am like either I am working or I am not. That is just how I move based on my personality. I am someone who is a planner, who is an overthinker, who is always like when I'm in work mode, that is what my focus is. So if it's like I'm going, today I'm going to vlog. Yes, I'll enjoy the day, but in my mind, I am constantly working. I am thinking about, because I'm planning in my head, right? I'm planning the shots that I want to get. I'm planning what I want to say or how I want this to look or what angle I want this to be, what I think will be interesting, right? So I'm thinking about that every step of the way along my day. So it's a lot less enjoyment and a lot more work. So for me, there's times where I'm actively like, this is going to be work today. Even though I know I'm going to have a good time in between, this is work today. And then there's times where I'm like, there is no work. I don't care how interesting it is. It's not going to get captured. Like I just make those decisions ahead of time. I'm going to hit the powder just a little more right here because this is where I usually get oily, like across my T-zone, but this looks so natural and it doesn't feel dry. And I feel like I put on a good amount and like no creasing under my eyes. Even feel the powder. Very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, next question. Do you think fashion influencers are impacted by the current economy? Absolutely. And there was a few questions like this. Are brands still working with people? Like they absolutely are. I'm gonna finish with some lip oil. This is their lip treatment oil. I think I have two really pretty colors, but I think I'm gonna go pink. I'm a pink girl. They absolutely are. Of course, it's impacted because brands still have plenty of money. But I think brands are just being more intentional. And I think that's just kind of like the nature of the business. And as brands learn and figure out like what's working, what's driving sales, things like that. And like get honed in on like what their goals are, what their KPIs are for different programs that they do. Like, what is the goal? Is it to bring more awareness? Is it to drive sales? Is it to, what's the goal here? And then who are the people that can help us attain that goal? So I think brands are getting more clear on that. So I find that if you have value, if you are intentional, if you have a loyal audience, if you are, honest and consistent with your content and its quality, will there be less this year? Possibly, but I don't think you really have anything to worry about. For me, I always said, I'm not a salesman. My goal is not to work with every brand. It's to be intentional. So I find that I'm still having the same amount of campaigns and they're still equally intentional because I've been clear on I'm not trying to sell everyone everything. I am trying to share things that I'm excited about, that I think you guys will be excited about, because my job is to just do the legwork for you and be like, hey, if you were thinking about this, here's my take on it. Here's my opinion on it. Or here's the thing I'm loving. So I find that my campaigns have still been pretty consistent, but I think I also have the same or better quality of content, the intentionality, those type of things. If you are just, oh, that's gorgeous. This is not what I was expecting. So if you are someone who is intentional about what you create, if you are focused on making the highest level of quality content, if you are intentional with your audience, you have nothing to worry about. But we will see shifts. It's a new industry, so it's going to continue to change. So you also have to be resilient and flexible to the change. I was expecting a slippery. When I think oil, I just think of something slippery and kind of like a little watery. This almost feels like a balm, but looks like a gloss. I like this very much. As someone with super dry lips, I don't love oils a lot of times because I just feel like they're just slipping and sliding and just sitting on my lips. This isn't sticky, but it feels, I don't know. I don't want to say thick, but nice. Let's see what the other color looks like. I'm gonna put it on my hand. I don't know if these have shade numbers, but this is like the brown one. Very pretty. This is the face to go put the blue tape on the house. Super natural, fresh. I feel like I want to pop just a little bit of this orange on my cheeks. Should we do that? Just a little bit. Just because we're keeping it so... I'm going to do it right at the high point. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. That's pretty. While we were changing the battery, I decided to contour a little bit with this other foundation shade. So let's see how that looks. Not even really contour, kind of bronze. Bronze, contour. Just right around the perimeter of my face. Is your home a custom build or did you do a model home with builder upgrades? This is a custom home. The last house we lived in was a builder grade and we got to pick some of the finishes, which is a great process, I think, to start because it's super overwhelming to have to pick everything in a house. But this house was just one house that these people were building. It's the only one in the neighborhood kind of vibe. And we chose everything in this house, which was very exciting, but very overwhelming. And it's also why the process has been longer because it's not like when it's a builder, they kind of have a lot of, I want to say they're ducks in a row, right? They have systems, a lot of systems in place because they're working on so many things at one time. This was just a little different. Funny question. How would you join Housewives of Potomac if you were approached? Absolutely not. I was approached. It's a no. It's a never for me. I hate to say never for anything, but it's just not I don't have the temperament to be on that kind of show. I don't even watch Housewives as much anymore because it gave me so much anxiety. I'm the type of person that I get secondhand embarrassment. For people, I just, so many things make me uncomfortable or make me just very anxious and give me a lot of anxiety. So there is no way I would put myself in those type of situations, that I can't make sense of things or things are being cut to look a certain way. That would drive me insane. That would not be good for my mental health. So since being on the Tamron Hall show, do you feel pressure to perform? No, never. because people are giving me these opportunities based on what I already do. The only pressure I put on myself is to just always get better, is to always be more helpful, be more creative, be more useful, have, be more of a resource. But that's the only pressure I put on myself. Would you ever do a new build again? How frustrating was this experience? Honestly, yes, we would. We understand that we're very particular. So I feel like we'll always have to do a new build to get exactly what we want. We looked at a few houses that were already built, and I don't want to pay for someone else's taste. That's what you're doing, right? There's so many beautiful houses where I'm like, you can tell they put a lot of thought into this, but it's not my taste. So it's like, I still have to come in here and change things, and this is already at the top of our budget. So building is just makes more sense for us. And this, even though there are so many delays, this process has not been that long based on what we're getting. Usually if you are custom building a house, it's a year minimum. Some people wait a year and a half, 2 years. We haven't even hit the year mark. It's just longer than what they said, but it hasn't been, like, the process hasn't been that long. The communication wasn't great, so that's why we're in this pickle of being in our third Airbnb. But overall, this process wasn't terrible, and people have definitely went through worse building a home. Lots of questions around me changing my name. Can you explain why you're using Jenee Naylor? It's my name. Like, a lot of people just use their name. It's just easier for business. And kind of what I said earlier about thinking long term, that was the main reason. Just thinking long term. I literally thought to myself when I'm on TV one day, and this was a year and a half ago, I was like, when I'm on TV one day and they call my name to come out on the stage, I don't want them to say Hello Lux. That is not something I identify with as who I am. That's not my name. Like, I would love for them to just say my name and just be like, hey, welcome Jenee Naylor. At that point, was I even trying to get on TV? No. Did I have any plans to be on TV? No. But I just thought one day, I don't know what this career is going to turn out to be, but if I'm on TV, I don't want them to say, let's welcome Hello Lux. Like, I want people to hear my name. So that was the initial reason, like, thought. It just popped in my head one day. And then after that was just little things that was kind of like solidifying that thought. And then the last thing was the thing I'm going to announce on May 13th. When that opportunity came around, like this time last year, they were like, it's going to be Jenee Naylor times this. And I was like, oh my God, well, people are going to be so confused because people know me as Hello Lux. They're going to be like, who the hell is Jenee Naylor? And I was like, maybe I should change my name. Like, maybe I should really change my name now and just use my name, because this is going to be confusing. And then I had a meeting with a consultant, advisor type of person. And that was literally the first thing she said, like, on our first call. She was like, have you ever thought about using your name instead of, and I was like, yes. Actually, I have been going back and forth with it for the past year. So I literally did it the next week after that conversation, because I was like, there's just too many. And then right after that, we started getting the TV opportunity. I was just like, thank God I changed my name when I did. Because in my mind, I was like, it's only going to get harder. I'm only going to continue to build a platform. I'm only going to continue to, like, have people that support me. And it's going to just get more confusing if I don't change it now. So make sure you check out Ami Colé. What do we think of the face? She is natural. She's dewy. She's radiant. She's gorgeous. You can use Naylor 20, Naylor. I'll put it right here. 20 to get 20% off the entire site. You can get the Complexion Set, and that has everything you need for basically a full face. So thank you to Ami Colé for sponsoring this video. And thank you guys for sticking to the end. And I'll see you in the next one. Cross your fingers for the house. Hopefully we're closing next week. Okay, bye.